Hi and welcome to Print and Paint. Today I'm going to teach you how to paint this griffon, griffin, gryff. Everyone is calling it in a different way. For me this is a gryphon. I don't know how to say it in English. So I'm going to show you how to paint this animal, half eagle, half lion, on a very easy way with a really nice result. So this model I'm going to use is from this month's Patreon release, April 2020, from Titan Forge Miniatures. They have a really nice sorcerers and battle mages release, and it includes this griffon being ridden by this nice lady in an armor. What I'm going to do is focusing on just the animal. I leave to you how to paint the rider. I'm not going to show it in this video, and also I'm not going to show you the base. So while the priming finishes drying, I'm going to show you how I'm choosing the color palette for this miniature. Basically, I want to paint the head and neck of the griffon in white, orange beak and paws. The body will be this brownish of a lion, like that, and with darker hair here in the tail, the paws, and here in the belly. I have here this, let's say, grays to white for the white areas. I have this orange to yellow for the beak, dark browns. This one is almost purple, but like really dark brown, clear browns. This one is almost the same as this one, it's basically the same color twice. For the lion body, darker grays for the back side of the wings, for all of this part of the feathers, and then black for the claws. This is the general color scheme to do it. Let's start covering the general areas, and we will get more precise as we progress. I'm going to use a series of dry brushes. I think it's a technique that really works in miniatures like this. You want to wet your brush in paint, and you will paint to discharge it in a paper until it almost doesn't paint. So you see, as you are applying, it paints less and less, and then you can take the mini and do quick swipes on it to clear color accents. So this first layer I'm going to be covering almost everything. Then I will give one or two more layers thinner and thinner to be covering less and less, and just highlighting the highest areas. Now, really important, do not wet or clean the brush while you are using the same color. Only wash it to change color when you are doing dry brush. Otherwise you will make the paint too wet, and even if you paint in the paper it will be too wet and it will destroy the miniature. If you wash it, you have to dry it really well, or it will destroy the effect. So wings, I have this darker, really dark purple-ish brown. With a larger brush it's faster. Be careful to not get out of the area and paint the body, which we just painted in brown. Okay, so I broke a wing and I will glue it back later. Normally a model like this can be easier to paint before gluing the parts together. I tend to always mount the models and paint them after, but I understand that it's better to, in many cases it's better to just paint them separately. Okay, now the first clearer layer of the body. So now with this second layer, we don't want to be as extensive. We want it to highlight some areas without covering the previous layer. Now let's do the brown on the feathers. In the interior side of the wings, I'm going to avoid applying colors, so I'm only going to go along this area, because this area of the feathers I want to highlight it in gray. So I have already painted the brown. You see it starting to get shape. Now I'm going to start with the gray on the inner side of the wings. You may have noticed I'm using a different brush for each color. The reason is the other brushes are drying here while I'm painting. So when I'm using this one, the others are drying, basically. One thing you need to think about when you are dry brushing is the direction of the swipes of the brush. If I do it in the same direction as the hairs in the feathers, no, as the fibers in the feathers, I can cover the space, and if I do it across, I will highlight them. You can see the difference between the brown highlighted and the gray highlighted. I think it gives a nice contrast to the wing, while the front side it's all brown. I'm going to do now the highlights on the body with this really clear brown. I'm now with the highlights of the lion body. In this case I want it to almost basically not paint, so it doesn't, you see it's still painting, man, so it doesn't leave too much paint. And I only want to highlight some areas, I don't want to do it everywhere. So for example, these muscles, they don't have so much hair, so I'm going to avoid them. I'm going to focus on the hair here, the hair here on the belly. I know I said I will be doing it dark, but I think this clear brown works probably better, especially for the dry brushing. As we are doing dry brush, we can't go with a darker color now, so it's better that we paint it in a clear color. I'm going to finish the highlights of the body with a little bit of white. I'm using, of course, a smaller brush. Alright, I applied some white to the hair on the rear and front legs and to the belly and the tail. Next layer for the wings, we need a clear brown and then we need a clear gray. Yeah, it's looking pretty decent. And now I'm going to give a clearer gray to the inner side of the wings. In this case, I'm not going to cover everything. I want to leave a little band without any gray to create some effect of progression. And I'm also swiping on one direction to emphasize the effect of reflection of the wings. You see the progression that you create with different colors, applying only to some areas. It looks pretty good. Little bit of clear brown. I'm using this one, the same as I used for the highlights of the lion. This will help unifying a little bit the colors. This is how it looks now. You see it has this variation of dark layer, dark layer. I think it looks pretty rich, and I'm going to add a little bit of white to the tips. Now clear gray on the mane, on the head, on the neck and the head. It's not really a mane. Very careful in this case that we have most of the miniature already painted. Do not stroke out of the area. And now the white on the feathers of the neck. I'm doing it with a thinner brush to start with the details. I don't want to paint in white areas of the body that shouldn't be white. Okay, so I glued this wing back. When it fell down, it got a little bit dirty with white paint here. I have to fix this. But basically the body is finished. You see, it was very simple. Now we only have to paint the details, the beak, the ears, the claws and the nails here on the paws. Orange is not one of the most covering colors, so you may need a couple of layers here. So I gave already a couple of layers of orange to the claws and to the beak, and I have painted as well all this area around the nose. I have painted the eyes in clear orange and I have painted the ears. I'm waiting for the layers of orange to dry to give here a bit of highlighting. The beak, I think I'm going to leave it quite orange, quite like it is right now. I think it's already looking quite good. And the only thing left is to finish the eyes. Although, if you are not very familiar with eyes, just the eye in the full color like it's right now, I think it already looks quite good. You can paint it red or in a flashy color, or you can just paint the black dot. I have painted with a bit of yellow progression the claws, and I have painted all the fangs in black, and I painted the eyes. I think they look pretty good. I'm going to use some gloss varnish to give a bit of gloss to the beak and to the eyes, also to the nails, to the fangs themselves. This Vallejo gloss varnish tends to look a little bit blue when you're applying it. So if you're painting something and it starts to become bluish, just a little bit like this, you see, like a little bit white bluish. If it becomes a bit like that, don't worry, it will get transparent after it dries. Okay, so I think it's finished. I think it looks pretty good. As you can see, it's very easy to paint with this level of finish. It's not really difficult and the result is just great. So I have here the base that I have painted separately. I did a couple different techniques. I like the little book with the teeth. It's quite cute. Wow. Okay, so this is it with the base. I think it looks pretty good. I leave you now with some studio pictures of the miniature. Ciao!